My name is Chris Gribble. I'm the Chief Executive of Writers Centre Norwich. We're sat here today in our new home, Dragon Hall, 15th century medieval merchants' hall and some associated buildings in the heart of Old Norwich. Writers Centre Norwich is an organisation that exists to explore the artistic and the social impacts of creative writing, reading and literary translation. I see my role at Writers Centre primarily as a fundraiser, manager, business owner, troublemaker, travelling salesman, advocate, troubleshooter and general cheerleader for literature, reading, writing and literary translation in all its forms. We work with writers, translators, readers here in Norwich, locally across our region, across the UK and internationally, finding new stories, supporting new writers and translators, finding new readers, finding new audiences for literature. Norwich is a UNESCO City of Literature and the first in England, and it's also a city of literature right down to its boots. Over 1,000 years of literary history are alive in this city, from the very beams around us now and the stories that they tell, through to Julian of Norwich's chapel just over the road, through to Luke Hansard and his family, who created Hansard's record of Parliament and made democracy open to people's inspection for the first time, one of the oldest provincial libraries outside of London in the entire country, the biggest and busiest public library in the country. It's a city where readers value writers and writers are confident in their readers. In terms of the regional development of literature in the cities in the UK, there's a real renaissance, a real blossoming of writers, of readers, of activity outside of London. We're discovering that the regional stories that we tell are just as important as the metropolitan stories, and there are organisations in the north of England, the south, the east and the west now harnessing this real fascination with literature and doing things with writers, readers, communities that are changing the places that they live. It's a very exciting time for the art form and the organisations with whom we work. I think it's vital that we treat writers, translators and others professionally, and that they are paid, that their skills are developed and their talents are recognised. Literature really is our unacknowledged national art form. We're coming up to the Shakespeare anniversary, we've just been through a whole range of other literary anniversaries. Globally, we are recognised as an absolute literary engine in this country, and if we don't treat all the parts of that engine well, if we don't think about the ecology that supports that legacy, then it will wither away and we'll become slightly less interesting, our writers will be less ambitious, our readers will be less adventurous, young people in schools will read more and more narrowly, we'll find ourselves cut off from the wider world of letters, and the oxygen will go from our bloodstream. Currently, we're just about to embark here at Writers Centre Norwich on a programme with British Council and the Globe, education programme at the Globe, where we'll be taking workshops in translating Shakespeare around 6 countries around the world over 2015 and 16, where we'll be looking at the Shakespeare soliloquies and how they've travelled around the world and what different cultures and countries have made of Shakespeare, how they've appropriated that work. We are working with our UNESCO City of Literature partners. Shortly we'll be heading to Kanazawa to the UNESCO Creative Cities Conference. We are working with Tokyo International Literature Festival through the Nippon Foundation and our partnership there. We're also planning a 3-year partnership with the British Council to run and develop the International Literature Showcase, which will be the world's marketplace for literature development in 2015, 16 and 17 here in Norwich, and also in virtual form. We've got some very exciting online plans too. The ways in which we support literary translation here are numerous. We begin with the literary translators themselves. We find a rolling programme of support for emerging translators, connecting them to professional translators and to editors and to publishers. We work to bring the sector together, particularly around International Translation Day and the Literary Translation Centre at London Book Fair. We are developing a post that's going to have a skills sharing programme across the literary translation sector in the UK. And internationally, we work with partners from around the world in bringing new work into translation. We have newwriting.net, a partnership with the Writers Centre for Literary Translation and University of East Anglia, where all of the writers and international artists that we invite to Norwich have work published there. Often it's in translation as well. Fundamentally, we believe that translators, literary translators, are writers. There is no difference between the artistic quality of what they do, and therefore we think they should be treated with equivalence. The National Centre for Writing is a hugely exciting development. Here in Dragon Hall, we are going to create a physical space which will be a home for writers and translators in residence, a writers' colony, an education hub, an event space, a festival space, and a place for experiment where people who are fascinated by the possibilities opening up in the world of digital literatures, gaming, writing for TV, writing for the professional world, writing as a tool for democratic access and education, can come together, deliver programmes, find funders and find support. Literature is our national art form, but at the minute there's not a single space or a single organisation speaking up for the broad values and the benefits that literature, reading, writing and translation can bring. We don't want to offer answers, but we want to offer a space where people can ask those questions and start to find those answers.